Ever heard of the show 1,000 Ways to Die? Well, if you take a look at our 300,000 years of history, you'll soon come to realize that 1,000 isn't even anywhere close to cutting it. Try more like 1,000,000, if even that's enough. And through the ages, people have had to endure some pretty painful demises, some of which were definitely worse than others. But thankfully, thanks to technology and general progress, horrific endings are becoming less common than they used to be, especially because of just how tough ancient Earth was compared to now. And we can only guess what kind of life our ancestors had to go through, but once in a while we don't have to, as occasionally researchers would get really lucky at the expense of a seriously unfortunate individual. And we get to see firsthand some of the catastrophic injuries that ancient people had to endure and sometimes even survived. But the first case definitely wasn't a survive kind of situation, and unfortunately is a mode of death still within the realm of possibility, as it was a shark attack, but not just any old shark attack, but rather the first conclusive one recorded in history, an achievement that certainly nobody wants to have. Now, if you're planning a trip to Japan, don't panic quite yet. Yes, there are still sharks there now, but the situation was much dicier back then. A number of known shark teeth imply that their populations were significantly higher than they are now. This is also reflected by the Jomon culture, which features multiple art pieces that depict various sharks, namely hammerheads and tiger sharks. So it's likely that attacks were much more common back then. Now clearly this particular incident had a rather regrettable ending, but not all horrific injuries ended so poorly. Sometimes ancient humans not only survived traumatic wounds, but even thrived afterwards. But alas, we also know that humans in the past, and for that matter, can be quite cruel. You know this all too well if you've seen recent videos circulating on your local social media feed. The current world we occupy is also host to unusually cruel violence, which can be downright horrifying to say the least. However, one of the worst cases of unusually cruel violence in our distant past was seen in the case of the girls of St. Paul-Troy Chateau of France. This grisly discovery involved 3 women who were found buried together back in the 80s, but dated to about 5,500 years ago. Only recently did scientists unveil that a cruel sacrificial ritual had taken place. In total, 3 victims were found. 2 of them were buried in very contorted positions and stuffed into very tight spaces, while being completely covered by heavy grindstones likely meant to keep them down and from moving. This signifies that these 2 had been buried alive and against their will. Furthermore, the positions of their arms and legs suggested that while decayed now, a rope had at some point not only bound them but tied their legs to their necks, causing them